Okie dokie. I will try to catch any chats that show up, but sometimes it's like they go really fast. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, so hello everybody. Thank you for coming. Um, some of you I know who've been summer program stops before. Some of this might be a little bit of a refresher, but I hope that you all get something out of it. And won't try to take up too much of your time. But there's a lot to cover, and so I'm excited. This is the fourth year of the Holiday Passport. It started in 2022, and so yeah, that'll be 4 years. And we made some changes this year, so we're excited to see what's gonna happen with those changes and what all kinds of fun things we're going to be able to get feedback from and things like that. So we'll see what happens. But anywho, alrighty. So first things first, who is Visit Nebraska? So that is our office. So there are currently 9 of us here in Lincoln. Our office is downtown. We're going to be moving locations here in a few months. So if you know where our office is now, it's going to change probably in like February, but still by the Capitol. Um, and our focus is out-of-state international travelers and trying to make sure that Nebraska is in the conversation for people who want to travel to places like Nebraska when they are coming either to the US or maybe just driving through, as well as focusing on marketing campaigns, grants, which I know some of you have probably participated in our grant programs before. We do a lot of group travel organization and then consulting with businesses and destination marketing organizations, maybe like your local Visit Carney or your CVB or whatever, to try to get as much information and resources out there as possible. So my name is Madison. I am the passport program coordinator, and I have been since 2019. So I've been around for a little while. I am originally from Fairbury, Nebraska, so I'm a small town gal, but I've been in Lincoln pretty much since college. Big thing I wanted to cover is that I am actually going to be going on maternity leave at some point in December, which I know is weird timing for this, but my baby boy is due December 11th, so we'll see when that all happens. But there is my contact information there. I will be your contact person until I go on leave, which I will let you all know when that happens, but probably sometime in the middle of December. And then after I go on maternity leave, your contact person will probably be Jen in our office. She's our marketing director or marketing manager. And she'll be able to help you and answer questions and that kind of thing. It might not be as smooth of a season as normal because I'm not going to be here, but I'm going to try to leave very detailed notes and make sure that you get all of the things you need. And any questions. Hopefully, most of the questions will be ironed out. You know, it'll be about a month into the program by the time I'm gone. So hopefully, most of those things will be figured out before I take off. But just know that there will be an adjustment, and I apologize for any inconvenience that might cause. The Lord has other plans as to when this baby is going to show up. So we'll see what happens. So new in 2025. So this year I did totally redesign the booklet. It's similar enough to last year, but it's bigger. So it actually is going to function a little bit more like our Nebraska highway maps, if you're familiar with those. So it kind of is going to unfold and then accordion out, which allows for more space to accommodate the 4 additional stops that we're offering this year. So we did a survey at the end of last season and tried to get some feedback from folks who've done the program for a number of years or maybe haven't done the program and are interested in it. And these are participants specifically, just to try to see, kind of gauge where we're at since it's still a relatively new program. And basically, majority of the folks said they wanted it to be longer and they wanted more destinations. But we didn't want to overwhelm anybody too much. So we decided to bump it up to 24 instead of 20. So as you can see, they're actually broken out by region. So there are 3 stops per region. Omaha and Lincoln's a bit weird, but there's 3 in Omaha on the metro, 3 in the capital region, 3 Southeast Nebraska, 3 in the Sandhills, etc. And so prizes this year are actually going to be divvied out by region. So if someone goes to all three destinations in Northeast Nebraska, they're going to get the prize associated with that regions. Um, and that is for a number of reasons. The biggest thing we have is a lot of the folks who do the program are older and they get a little squeamish when you talk about driving long distances in the wintertime. So we're trying to give them maybe a little pared down ways of thinking about the program. Our hope is obviously that they still go to all of them, but this maybe is just a way of phrasing it in a way that's a little bit less scary than saying you have to drive all the way across the state. You know, they can say, oh, I'm going to do the South Central stops this year or this like this weekend. And then it's a little bit less frightening to them than it is maybe to have to think about driving the whole state of Nebraska. But we'll see. We're just, we'll see what happens. And we also did expand the program. It's about a week, it's about 10 days longer than last year. So usually it would start the Friday before Thanksgiving. This year we're starting it 2 Fridays before Thanksgiving because obviously November is when the weather is usually better. And so we wanted to give people just ample time. And then we extended it it was a week after the new year. And now it's like a week and the weekend after the new year, basically, is how that has spanned it to be. So that just makes sense because most people travel during the weekends. And then it gives a little bit of time after the holidays for people who are really anxious to get their last few stops. So if you have questions about how the kind of structure of this year is going to go, feel free to put those in the chat and just let me know. It's going to be a little bit different, but for your purposes, things are going to run pretty much the same. So be on the lookout for this, depending on when the booklets are done, it'll be a shipment or shipments of things. I sent the booklets to print last week, so they're working on them now. But you will be getting a countersign, which is going to be a foam board. It's about 11 by 17. And there's an easel in the back that you will put at the front of your destination. So whether or not that is a sign-in desk, a retail checkout area, kind of wherever you interact most with visitors is going to be a good place to put that. It's basically a way for people to say, this is where I go to get my stamp. And also if you are interacting maybe with some folks that are not doing the program, it's a good way to talk about the passport to them and extend kind of the invitation for them to participate if they're interested. You're also going to be getting window decals. So it might just be one, but this is an adhesive window decal that you can put on your front door, front window, wherever is convenient for people when they drive up to see that so they know where to go inside. You also each will be getting your own unique stamp. So there'll be 2 of them. They all have the same design, but they have yours number on them. So each of you will have a number so that it's like our one way to try to prevent cheating. I'm not too much of like a rules person when it comes to the program. This is a fun summer program, so I try not to be fun summer program, fun travel program. I try not to be too strict about a lot of things, but you will have your own number. So just know that like someone can't take your stamp and stamp every single one of their stops because we would see that they are not the different numbers. So it's like our one way to prevent cheating. And then there's also a staff handout that is fairly transparent, but it's just like maybe a nice way to give if you have some front of the house staff that will be interacting with people. It's kind of like a cheat sheet for them if you don't want to have to explain like the whole thing to them really quickly. It's just a little like reference sheet. There will be 100 probably pamphlets sent your way, potentially more depending on where you're located. And you can always let me or Jen know when you're low or running out, and we can send you more. We want to make sure these are also an eyesight of people. These are a good way to get people's interest piqued. People love to flip through and open things. So if you are interacting with people who, again, have never heard of the program or even the passport in general, it's a really great way to say like, here, just take this, look through it. Let me know what you think. Give them their first stamp and then maybe they'll, catch the bug. And you will probably get several people who come in specifically to get their pamphlet, just because that's a way people like to participate is they just go and get them at the destinations. Last year, we had 33 participants who went to all of the 20 stops. Um, the year before was somewhere like 45, I believe. We did have weird weather last year, so weather is a factor, which is why we tried to expand the program a little bit to try to mitigate some of that issue. But um, just know that I mean, there is a good amount of people. I think last year, most folks saw about 450-ish folks through their doors because of the program, and that was during the shorter time frame. So we're hoping that that'll be even higher. And then this year we printed 8,000 pamphlets or booklets. So we have plenty to distribute to folks when they're needed. This is just a quick demographic breakdown of who participants are in terms of age. So obviously, this is going to be, if you were to add kind of the somewhat retiree folk side, this is going to be your biggest demographic. A lot of the people who do the program are retired people who love to drive around. They do it every single year. A lot of people who do the holiday program specifically are people who have done the passport for years. So you shouldn't be dealing with a ton of newbies, but we love to see them if they are. And then we also get a lot of parents of like school age kids or people who just maybe have some time off during the holidays who want to go get some stamps as well. So these are the 4 phrases we use when talking about all of the passport, not just the holiday one, but also the summer one. So we like to use the phrase hidden gems. So we like to say that all of our passport stops are the hidden gems throughout the states. These are places maybe you've never been to before, maybe didn't even know about, are kind of tucked away, perhaps, or maybe a local hotspot that maybe you're not familiar with if you're not from that area. We also say it's easy and fun. So we try to make it, I try to make it especially very low barrier of entry. I just want anybody who wants to do it, say, here you go, have a passport, have fun, and make it really simple. It's also great for kids and good for all ages as well. There is a variety of destinations. So there are lots of passports around there, but ours has a sprinkling of every type of place. So it's not just outdoor recreation. It's not just, maybe restaurants or retail stores. It's a variety of everything, which allows for something new. And if maybe you're not someone who loves to shop, then maybe, the next place that has ice cream is really going to be exciting for you, or vice versa. It's also cost friendly, so there's no purchase necessary for anybody. So you guys, it's completely free for all the stops to be a part of the program. It's also free for anybody who is doing the program as a participant. So getting a pamphlet is free and giving out a stamp is free. I'll talk about this more in a little bit, but you cannot charge anyone anything to give them a stamp. So if you are a museum and you require admission in order for folks to go through your museum, that does not mean that they get into your museum for free, but you cannot force them to pay admission in order to give them a stamp. So this is just an easy kind of cheat sheet of things you can say. Oh, and also every year is different. That's a big one too. So the stops change every single year for both the holiday and the summer program. So if you've been on the summer program one year, you're not going to be on the next. Same with the holiday. Few stop benefits. So basically increased awareness and statewide and local publicity. So we do a lot of, marketing with TV, radio, newspaper, increase in traffic, increase in sales, and social media followers. Those are just easy things that you can hopefully anticipate as a passport stop. Okay, goals for 2025, fairly straightforward. We obviously want it to be 100%. It's a very lofty number, but 100% positive experience for everybody. So we want to make sure that the stops are always getting a benefit. If the program stops becoming beneficial for stops, the program ceases to be important. So it's always something that I'm always looking for feedback. If there's things that you maybe, things that you notice or trends or whatever, just make sure you're sharing those things and letting me know. But basically, you should have increased traffic, hopefully sales, awareness, definitely. And then there are other things too, like people coming back, people sharing to friends and family about your destination, etc. We also would really love to increase participation numbers over last year. That is always a goal, especially with our holiday program, since it is still relatively new. And we'll see what happens. Again, weather plays a big factor for people, but hopefully we're trying to lower barrier for some of those things, and we'll see how it goes. And then we also want to make sure that there's an economic impact, that it's not, that it is being beneficial for everybody. Okay, so very generally, what do you need to do when a passporter comes into your door? So obviously, hi, how are you doing? Thanks for doing the program. Where have you been so far? Just asking very general questions, making them feel welcome, fairly straightforward. I'm sure all of you do that already anyway. But super, super easy, just say hello. And then there's one prize entry per person. So every person participating needs to have their own booklet. So if there's a family of 5, both of the parents and the kiddos will need to have their own booklet. And so you'll stamp all 5 of them. There are situations where maybe a mom has a little itty bitty baby and they don't want to do it with that kid. Fine by me. But just know that is in the booklet itself, and that is the rule. So that's what the expectation is. If someone doesn't want to do that for their kids, that's their own thing. But just know that is what is expected. There is a rule that you only can stamp booklets for people that are present. So if someone comes in and says, "Oh, my friend was supposed to come with me today, but she couldn't," we do have a rule that you're not allowed to stamp her booklet too. So obviously stamp the booklet for the person present, but not for the person who isn't there. This is in the book. This is like really the only big rule we have for participants. So it's not super hard for them to understand. Some people like to skirt the rules, and they can talk to me about that if they want to. So if there's any issue with that, please have people call me rather than argue with you about it. I say this a lot, but I would rather have a participant talk to me on the phone for 20 minutes or however long it needs to be, and I can explain the rules to them rather than them argue with you guys. That's not fun for you, and also you don't know all the justifications that I do. So please just point any problem person to me. I'm happy to always take those phone calls and to always talk people into being maybe a little bit more reasonable. But that we usually don't have issues with that, but just know that if that is a question that comes up, or for any issue, even if it's regarding, your destination, if they say like something, I don't know, your front window is broken. I don't know. It's a really bad example, but like either way, just have them call me. I am willing to talk to anybody on the phone about anything, and I can justify myself way better than you guys can. And again, yes, no charging participants to receive a stamp. Okay, so a good kind of thing to think about is visitor experience. So how are you going to get people excited about your destination? Any little talking point, for those of you who've been on the passport before, you are probably very familiar about how chatty passporter participants can be. They're the best. They're all sweet old people usually, but they love to chat. So any little tidbits you can throw out there. So like, our best selling thing is this, or, "Oh, have you checked out our new exhibit? It's down, you should go check it out. It's right over there." Or, "Oh, this year, this has been really popular with people." And then I know some of you signed up for a deal to say you're going to offer a deal or a discount. So that is marked in the passport booklet itself that you have a deal or a discount. It does not say what your discount is. So that means you can start with one discount and then change your mind. So if you offer maybe a free sample as your deal or discount, but that's not maybe working as well as you want it to, or you ran out of that sample or whatever, you can change it to a 10% off your purchase. Or maybe 10% off your purchase isn't as successful as you'd like it to be. You can change it to a free, I don't know, appetizer at a restaurant. So there's lots of things you can do. You can always adjust it as needed. You don't even really have to let me know that. But people will probably ask you what your dealer discount is. So just make sure that you and your staff are aware of what that is when people walk in. That is a great way to get them to actually spend money, to take some time and think through. And really is your best tool in encouraging people who, especially maybe were not initially interested in purchasing something, to get them to buy something because they love to be made feel special. So make sure everyone knows that prior to the beginning of the program. Okay, so where to stamp? So that's just what the stamper looks like. It's a cute little bell and holly. Um, so you will stamp next to your destination. So say you are Nebraska Coffee in Kimball, you will stamp right here next to your name. And then, oh, I don't have that yet, but there is also a place within the booklet itself that you will stamp. So this part is the part they turn into our office, and then the other part is for them to keep. So you'll stamp in two places, but make sure you just always stamp next to your name. Self-explanatory. There is no app. So if you're familiar with the summer program, a big part of our summer program is the digital passport app. We do not have a version of that for holiday. To be very transparent with you, it's because it would cost us like $10,000 and we just don't have $10,000 to make an app for the holiday program. We're looking at ways to maybe incorporate some sort of digital aspect to it to see if that helps, but it's really, we might figure it out someday, but for now, the only two ways to get a passport stamp are to physically get a stamp by going into the destination or by submitting selfies, which I'll talk about in a second. But again, there is no app. So if a participant asks you about it, just say, no, there is no app for the holiday passport, only for the summer one. So these are selfies. So if people visit when you're closed, ignore that, sorry. They can submit selfies. So this is like a perfect example of a selfie. They took a photo of themselves outside of the destination, and then they can submit it either on our website or print it off when they turn in their prize entry sheet. And that is their credit for your destination. So especially if they go and they're closed, you can still get a stamp regardless. All of those instructions are in the booklet and it's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, it's pretty easy. Most people understand the idea. You take a picture of yourself in front of the stop and that counts as your stamp. Okay, so here is what they will turn in. So yeah, so like I said, there's two places to stamp. So like right here, if you're small town famous in Hastings, you'll stamp here and here. So two different places. This is, again, their keepsake side. There's a little dotted line here with the scissors to make it really, really obvious that you need to cut that part off. And they mail in that part. So this and this are a front back sheet. So when they turn theirs in, they will check which regions they completed, and then they will turn this into our office and we will send them prizes. They don't need to send in the whole thing. They can, if they ask, do I need to, can I just send in the whole thing? Yes, of course you can. But they don't have to. And then since this is a new design and kind of a new layout and the regions are new, they might have questions. Point them in my direction or to our website there's lots of I'm sure there's going to be questions about, I went to 4 stops, one in the Northwest region and one in the Sandhills, or I went to 2 in one and one in the other. And they're going to say, can I double those up and, like crossover? Like I went to 2 in the Metro and 1 in Lincoln. Does that mean I went to all the Metro stops? No. Does not. You have to complete all of that region in order to get the prizes for that region. So we'll see how that goes. I'm sure it'll be fine, but just know that they do have to go to all the stops in that region in order to receive the prize. You cannot cross over. But I have kind of tried to pick stops that are close together and make sure it's somewhat simple for people. But yeah. So is that everything on that slide? Yes. Okay, long-term benefits for the program. You can gather participant names, email information. If they want to sign up for newsletters, things like that. You are more than welcome to get all of that information from passporters if they'd like to give it to you. You can start building relationships, not only within the industry, but with folks in your area. If you aren't doing so already, you can start building a customer base with these people. If maybe they really, really love your store, you should say, oh, we should absolutely sign up for a newsletter or follow us on Facebook or whatever. Normal things I'm sure most of you do anyway. Um, have them sign a guest book. You can tie it into a prize drawing. So if you say, hey, if you sign up for a newsletter, we'll enter you into a prize drawing to get X, a gift box, a coupon, a free meal, whatever. Um, and so there's long-term benefits that hopefully you'll be able to see for a while. A lot of passporters love to be on social media and on these prize things. We have a lot of people who want to be like on our newsletters and things like that. So that actually is a very beneficial thing. Um, or if you send out like a notification for maybe you have like a spring market or you do a celebration or your town does a celebration for the holidays or 4th of July or whatever, you can send out that kind of thing to them too if they opt into it. So yeah, so regular communications about events or specials that you're offering. Maybe you unleash a new menu and you can say, hey, we're having this now, you should come check it out. Or, you know, really any communication you'd want with customers. You can definitely send them a like an after the program type thing. Say like, hey, thank you so much for coming for the passport. You should come back and here's a discount for you. As a way to get them to kind of maybe come back to your destination. I know that that's been pretty successful for people. Or if you are a like a museum, you say like, hey, buy one free, buy one get one free admission if you bring back a friend or family member and things like that. You can also give out coupons at the time of the visit. So you can give out a 15% purchase if they come back. Um, I would suggest if you do that, which is totally, that's great. Also give, maybe do like a double. So say like 15% now, 15% later, or something like that. Because again, you're trying to optimize them being in your destination, right? So you're trying to make sure that if you're going to say retail speak, convert them into a purchase. So totally up to you. Again, you can change any of this throughout the season, but these are just ideas. So lots of things are going to be happening. So there'll be a lot of events going on. I know a lot of you shared special events you guys are doing during the season with me, and I'll be posting those on our website as well as on our Facebook group. And hopefully people will be able to come out specifically for your special event that you have, or maybe the town special event. Make sure to keep me up to date. And then I would love it if you had photos of past quarters or of your events that you want to share with me. Those are always really fun to see. So feel free to post those on our Facebook group as well, or share them with me directly or whatever it is easier for you. But yeah, just try to keep me up to date with anything you might have going on. Again, since I'll be gone, um, that might get a little bit weird, but try to let me know as soon as possible, and I'll make sure that all of that is on the events calendar before I head out. So some other examples of things you can try to do. So go above and beyond. Souvenirs and free samples are always loved. I know Gina, especially, I'm looking at you. I know you gave everybody cookies last time and people loved that. So there's lots of things you can do, really simple things. You don't even have to do cookies. You can do, little small things. But there's always great free stuff is always really awesome, which I know is like obvious, but just know that that's something you can do. You can also do a behind the scenes tour. So maybe you are a destination, you have like a back room or like you're a coffee roaster and you have a place you can send people like, hey, go check out where we do our coffee. Always kind of fun. Photo ops are a great idea. So people love to be able to take pictures, as well as outdoor signage. So these things can kind of go together. So this is like a flag that I know you're on the call, but Popcorner, you did this several years ago and it was really great. So people love to take pictures in front of that, and it's helpful for folks who are driving into the parking lot or the area and they know exactly where to go. It makes it very easy for them to see you. And then as well as they post online because people love to see the Passport logo everywhere. And then you can also have a version of that inside too, especially since it's winter time, it might be a little cold. But you can always have like a photo op with, a sign that says like, I got my booklet stamped at X place or whatever. So those things you can do if you'd like. Ba, ba, ba. I talked a little bit about this, about deals and things, but you could also connect with local businesses. So getting places nearby to also maybe have something that they can benefit from. So maybe you say, oh, there's a great restaurant next door. If you go there, they'll offer you a discount for coming through. You can give out maps or brochures to anybody who's interested in the area. Like I said, passporters love to feel special, so feel free to just give them information and things that they like. Events, lodging, history of a town, especially if someone's like, I've never been to Gothenburg before. What's about this town? And you're like, oh, well, you should absolutely go to the Pony Express Museum. I think it might be closed in winter, but just an example. One thing that I like to always say is lore. Um, I know that's like maybe that's really me specific, but I love to know like what your building used to be, especially if you're like in a downtown area, like, oh, this building used to be this, or was first built was, maybe housed a bank and there was some sort of drama, or like my hometown has a really historic downtown district and there are tunnels that connect all the businesses downtown that used to be where people would run booze in the 20s. And I was like, that to me is like the coolest thing. I'm like, that's what I want to know. So fun things like that that really can get kind of people's imagination and ideas going are always fun. So if you have something like that, just think about it. Maybe think about sharing it with participants. Okay, so remember that even if travelers do not buy something, please always display excellent customer service to them. You never know when they'll come back or recommend your destination to friends or family members. Um, just be kind. I know sometimes it can be frustrating if people are coming in, not getting their booklet or getting the booklet stamped and leaving. I get it. It's not an uncommon experience in the program, but just try to, always remember to be kind. Not worried about that necessarily. It's just a good reminder. A lot of stops in the past have said that the increase of awareness and traffic always pretty much outweigh the time spent for people who are not buying something. So yeah, just should keep that in mind. This is less of a big problem in our holiday program, our summer program, especially in the first month, has a pretty big part of time where people just go and get stamps because they want to get as many stamps as possible as quickly as possible for some reason. And so the holiday program has less of that for sure, but just, yeah, again, something to keep in mind. Okay, so your responsibility is to help me track participation. So since we don't have an app, especially, it's important that we get a traffic estimate. So I, or Jen, whoever, probably won't send this out until the end of the program, so in January, but try to keep a running tally of the number of folks who come through your destination. You can also keep a tally of how many of them are making a purchase, or maybe using your deal even would be an okay thing to track. But that I know is tougher. That's a harder question than just traffic estimates. So if you're going to do both, that is incredible, and I would be really appreciative. But traffic is the really what I need. So if you can say like, oh, you can make a running tally or have someone do a sign into a guest book, like, oh, please sign in as a passporter. You can have a ticker. You can, make it as easy or as complex as really you'd like, but whatever format works best for your destination. Um, well, not me. Sorry, I'm going to say me a lot, but since I'm going to have a child, unfortunately, it won't be me. But somebody will send an email out to you to send in those numbers at some point during the program or after the program. So just know that we'll be asking for them. Please don't forget to do that. I know it's hard to remember to do that, but try to keep it front of mind if you can. And then we'll also be sending out a survey at the end of the program that will have numbers where you can include all of those things too. And then also identifying ways that you benefited for us to just be able to keep continuing to improve the program for stops. Okay, so again, hours. This is always our number one complaint, is not being open the hours that you said you would be. Now, I know that all of you are human beings, especially during the holidays, things get crazy. So do not feel bad if you have to close for a day or two for X reason. I mean, it's totally up to you guys what you want to do, but please try to be open the hours that you submitted and that are printed in the pamphlet itself. If you have to change your hours permanently for whatever reason, I will always update those on the website and on our Facebook group. But just know that it is important because people do want to travel based off the hours in the booklet. Um, we do say several places that you should check online or make sure you're, being aware of when things change. But a lot of people are, again, older, might not want to do that, and they're just going to go off what's printed in front of them. Um, so if you have to close unexpectedly, there is lots of things you can do. So especially a good thing to do is to give us your stamp just for that time period to a nearby destination. So if you have even, it can really be anything, but any destination nearby, you can say, put a sign on your door, say, so sorry, we're closed for, whatever. But the stamp is at this place next door. Pop in, get your stamp there. Um, that is always a really great way to keep sharing the love within your community, as well as people really, really love to get physical stamps. So it helps them feel like they still accomplished your stop, even though they didn't technically get to. And then make sure you notify us too if you're closing for a short period. So this can be like a weekend, this can be for a few days. If you're just closing for one day, that's a little bit different. But if you have to close for a more like several days in a row for whatever reason, just let me know. Okay. The other thing is try to be a good local tourism ambassador. So part of the whole reason we do the passport program is obviously I work for Visit Nebraska. So my goal is to improve tourism industry as a whole in the state. So encourage tourism throughout your region. So say you are in, I don't know, say you're in Omaha and you're like, oh, have you seen the Christmas exhibit at the Durham? You should really go. It's incredible. Have you seen, it's the biggest indoor Christmas tree in the state or Midwest or something like that. Or, oh, have you ever been to Christmas at the Cody's in North Platte or whatever? So just know that, you can talk through these different things that are happening. Or if someone says, I've been in the market for this, you can say, oh, there's a really great stop down the road that you should do this at. So just know that that's important. People will ask questions probably. And then, again, the whole thing about having flyers and things, if people want them, might be helpful. And you can really just try to be a good ambassador for your region, as well as an ambassador for the program itself. I can yap at people as much as I want, but you guys sharing your story about how the program's impacted you is really what helps our participation the most. So it's really great for me and for the participants to hear kind of that firsthand experience. Most people who do the program already love the program, but it's really great for them to hear why it's beneficial for you, and then as well for attracting other stops in the future. So you can tell any destination you want, you should apply to be on the program, and that helps be an ambassador of the program. Typically, that word of mouth from stops is the best way for me to find new stops. When I call people on the phone and I say, hey, you should apply to be on the passport, they think that I'm like a scary salesperson. I'm trying to get them to give me money. And even when I tell them it's free, they're like, who are you? So the word of mouth from people in the community is really beneficial. Yeah, the booklet contains almost all the information needed. So all the rules, things like that. And then there's more rules on our website as well. And then try to get to know other stops. So look at these stops around you or in your region, especially. Try to figure out who they are, maybe reach out to them. You're going to get a lot of people that were like, oh, I just came from there and where am I going now? And that kind of thing. So just try to familiarize yourself a little bit with what else is on the program, just so that you have that knowledge. Things like people ask you probably best routes to take, like, oh, is this road open? And you're like, yep, it's the interstate, it's open. So just know that you're going to get this conversation. So just try to read the booklet and familiarize yourself with it a little bit if possible. So promotion, I do a lot of TV, radio, and newspaper interviews, especially leading up to the program. I've already started doing them for this year. The big three stations we work with is KETV in Omaha and then the two big stations here in Lincoln. I do a lot of radio. I'm on KRVN out in Western Nebraska all the time. My husband's grandpa lives in Gothenburg and always calls me when he hears me on the radio. And I'm like, thank you, Grandpa Dale. I know. Um, so that's our biggest way to market the program is doing these, smaller promotional segments. It's really just the best way for us to talk about it. I also do passport presentations at like a lot of Rotary clubs, PEO groups, um, bank travel clubs, Kiwanis, whatever. I do a lot of those kinds of things. So if there's a club place near you that you think I'd be a good person to come talk to them. I'm always happy to do that for either the holiday or the summer program, probably less holiday now, obviously, but um, I'm always open for doing presentations and I like doing them quite a bit. So if you know anybody that needs one, just let them know that I'm available. You might have surprise visitors. So some of our state senators might do the program. I know our previous Lieutenant Governor, Mike Foley, loved the passport, so he would do it every year. So you might get people like that who pop in, maybe not, but possible. And then again, especially for the summer program, we try to do some special events. Since I will be on maternity leave, I don't know if we're going to do any for the holiday program this year, unfortunately, but we do have those things kind of going around of ways that we try to promote the program. Our social media, so those are our numbers for our Facebook and Instagram. We obviously try to promote you explicitly on our passport or our Facebook page. So we'll say, these are holiday stops, and get excited about having people get excited about going to them. We also have passport stories people support on Facebook. I did send the marketing kit out when I can't remember I don't think it was I think it must have been when I did the press release, but I sent out a marketing kit that had the logo and pictures that you can use if you want to create Facebook posts, or any of the signage that I talked about earlier, if you want to create anything like that. And then our Nebraska Passport Pals Facebook group. So this Facebook group is only about 2 years old and is already at 6,000 members. So it's very active. Do I talk about it? Okay, talk about it here. It is a very active group. We approve every single post and monitor it pretty carefully. So it's all about spreading love for the program. Any really negative things that get posted, which is pretty rare, I will confront that person directly, or if that sounds aggressive, I will reach out to that person directly, and make sure that I'm, understanding their concerns and can talk to them about it. So you are more than welcome to share posts on here. You are saying, oh, thank you for anyone who came by, or this event's happening, various things. So there's lots of things you can do about posting on the Facebook group. I would suggest everyone join it. It's a very fun, happy, cute place. There's a lot of pictures shared. And then this is an example of what we would post on our visit Nebraska. Whoa, that was weird. Sorry, my computers went black for like a second. Um, this is an example of what we would post on our Visit Nebraska Facebook page about encouraging folks to do the holiday program. These are other social posts that people have done. So this is like from 10/11 when they did a story a few years ago. This is people who's posted about the program over the years. So just examples of things you can do. If you have not done so already from your time interacting with us, or just in general, if you don't have a website listing on our Visit Nebraska website, I would strongly recommend that you start one. It is the best way for us as Nebraska Tourism to be able to promote you and your community. Ben Jones is I think he's a public information officer, so he does stuff with our website and social media. So he's going to be the guy that knows all the ins and outs of how to create one of these. But it's pretty simple. But this is basically the main thing that we draw to. It's basically your profile on visitnebraska.com. It's the best way for us to know up-to-date information about you. And then when people are searching on our website, it leads them here and helps us promote as best as we can. This is what the back end of that looks like. So if you have one, you can go in and edit it, make sure your phone number is current and things. And it doesn't have to be in a ton of detail. It's really just like a general, this is what this place is. But things like hours that are up to date is really important. So reach out to me if you do not have one, or I will send Ben your way. about creating a listing. It's free, it's quick, um, it doesn't take a lot of maintenance. So just know that that's something that we would love for you to have if you don't have one already. Alrighty, last little bits of pieces. So please do not start stamping. So you should be getting the shipments that I mentioned earlier. You should be getting them probably definitely before the end of October. So they'll be coming relatively soon, but don't start stamping anything until November 14th. You're totally welcome to give out pamphlets if people ask once you have them, because by all means, go nuts, but don't stamp anything until the start of the program. Again, do not stamp booklets for people not present. Um, if Again, if a husband and wife comes in and they go, our daughter usually comes with us, but she's not here today, you cannot stamp their book. Now, if it is a mom who says, I have a toddler sleeping in the car, can you stamp her book? That's one thing, use your own discretion. But typically, no stamping for people who are not present. Determine how you want to collect participant information. So that can either be by the sign-in book or, and that same thing goes with traffic estimates. So how you want to do traffic. So it can be a sign-in book, it can be a tally, it can be a QR code people scan. It can be lots of things. Please try to check your email as much as possible. I shouldn't be bombarding you with too much stuff, but I will be reaching out and making sure that there aren't any issues or things, or if you don't get your supplies or something, please reach out to me for that reason. And then again, think about any visitor experiences or extras that you want to have. So photo ops, price drawings, free samples, things like that, things to get passporters involved and excited. Do you want them to leave with anything? So do you want them to have a coupon for local business? Do you want them to have a comeback coupon? Do you want them to have a free sample? Whatever. And then you can also meet with local businesses or places around you and let them know about the program. That's just a good way for you to be able to be like, hey, I'm a part of this thing. It's really cool. And you can encourage them to apply for following years or whatever. The summer passport application is open right now until the end of October. So if you know of any places around you or in your community or even across the state that you might think should be really good passport stops, please encourage them to apply. Again, that closes at the end of October. It usually closes at the end of November. But again, since I'm going on maternity leave, I moved it up a month just to confuse people. Okay, so any questions? I see I have one chat in here. Okay, so the question is there a Facebook group for participating businesses or is the group for everyone? The group is a public group for both businesses and participants, and it is a continuous group. So since it's been going on for a few years, having one for businesses is interesting, like for that year. I hadn't thought about that, but no, it is a public group. Again, since we're a state program, we can't really cut off anything. But yes, the Facebook group is for everybody, for both businesses and participants, and you can post in that and try to get some interaction and things like that. So does anybody have any other questions? You can unmute yourself if you'd rather, or you can type in the chat. I don't care. Nobody? Last chance. Okay, perfect. Feel free to shoot me an email if you have questions that pop up in your head. I'm sure if you will. But thank you for coming. I made it under an hour, so that's great. Sorry if I talked too fast. I tend to do that. But again, I will send out the recording of this here, hopefully by the end of the day or maybe tomorrow morning. If you want to rewatch anything or have anybody specifically watch an aspect of it. Again, not everybody has to watch the whole training, but definitely if you want certain people to, they're welcome to. And yeah, should be good. Hopefully we'll have a good season. Let me know if anything comes up. Appreciate you all. Bye bye.